I thought on this video post that I would talk about suicide today, as this is National Suicide Prevention Week. At the end of this week, here in Modesto, California, and in every county in the United States, on the third week of September, there's an annual suicide walk to raise awareness for suicide, about suicide, and to raise monies for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, or AFSP. There's some rather startling statistics about suicide in this country. There were 42,000 suicides in the United States in 2014. That makes suicide the 10th leading cause of death for Americans that year. Another way to look at it is that this computes to about 13 suicides per 100,000 population. In 2005, that number was 10 per 100,000. Yet another way to look at it is that there's a suicide here in the U.S. every 12 minutes. These statistics are rising each year as compiled by the Centers for Disease Control. The suicide rates vary somewhat per age group. For the age group 20 to 34, there were 15 suicides per 100,000. For teenagers, the rate was 5. The highest suicide rates, which is in the group age 45 to 85, was 19 per 100,000. Another way, surprising way to compare this is that since the advent of seatbelts and airbags, the number of highway fatalities has decreased in this country from over 50,000 to just over 30,000 per year. Compare that to what I just mentioned, namely the number of suicides per year of 42,000, equals just about the same as another epidemic, which is the unintentional death by overdose from prescription or non-prescription opiates, which is now also at around 40,000 per year. And that has doubled in the last 5 years. Males outweigh females 4 to 1 in successful suicides. By ethnicity, whites make up the largest group, followed by Alaskan Indians and Native American Indians. White males account for 70% of all suicides in 2014. The most common method of suicide remains by firearm, and this accounts for 50% of suicides. As far as suicide attempts, this figure is much less than probable, as not all hospitals report suicide attempts, but it is felt that the figure is in excess of 500,000 suicide attempts per year that lead to emergency room visits. Suicide attempts and deaths are directly related to the number of folks with affective disorders, either major depression disorder or bipolar disorder, which is to say that people in the midst of a major depression or a bipolar depression account for most of the people committing suicide in this country. This short statistical and rather dry analysis underscores uh, maybe takes away from the fact of what an individual suicide leads to in effect as to effect on family members and friends. In my two books, the first being an educational book, An Insider's View of Bipolar Disease, and the second book, my memoir, uh, My Life as a Physician with Bipolar Disorder. I talk about suicide predominantly in the first book, but in the second book, I do mention that I did make one serious suicide attempt in my life. And as reported in the New England Journal of Medicine, when 10,000 suicide attempt folks were interviewed years later, all said that they were extremely glad that they failed in their suicide attempt. I can say that certainly as well. I have used these last 4 years since retirement to become an advocate of mental illnesses and specifically affective disorders, both by the writing and speaking engagements. You can reach out to me at my website, which is www.mdgolden.com, or contact me at my email, which is paul@mdgolden.com. Thank you.